Laura had been gone for 3 days at her so-called business conference in Chicago, leaving me alone in our quiet apartment. She kissed me goodbye that morning, smiling softly, saying, "It's just work stuff. You'd be bored anyway." On the surface, I nodded and pretended to believe her. Inside, though, a small voice whispered doubts I kept pushing aside. There was something about the sparkle in her eyes that didn't look like work exhaustion. It was excitement, anticipation, the kind you don't get from conference calls and networking dinners. That first night, my phone buzzed with her message. "Networking late tonight. You'd be bored here anyway." I stared at the screen, my chest tightening. Her tone felt rehearsed, too casual, too careful, like lines practiced for someone else. Out of habit, I checked the company schedule. There was nothing official planned for that evening. My stomach dropped, but I didn't reply. Instead, I waited, quietly watching, letting my suspicion sharpen. The next night, another text arrived. "Another late night? Don't wait up." I didn't answer, but curiosity pulled me to social media. One of her coworkers, Matt, had just posted a video story. My blood went cold when I saw her laughing, leaning into him, whispering, her hand brushing his arm like it belonged there. The pain hit harder than I expected. This wasn't innocent. It was intentional, intimate, a betrayal hiding in plain sight. Still, I didn't explode. I sat back, breathed slowly, and let the sting settle so I could think clearly. I didn't need a heated confrontation. I would handle this carefully, and I would handle it perfectly. When her next message came through, "Networking late again. Don't wait up, Redheart," I replied simply and deliberately, "Good. I'm not home either." It was a short line, but it carried the full weight of my realization. She didn't know I had already arranged my escape. I had booked a flight, not to Chicago, but to a long-planned work retreat in Denver, where I signed papers for a promotion that included a company condo. While she believed she was free to flirt, laugh, and lie, I had already taken control of my life. I smiled quietly, knowing she was about to learn how patiently I had waited. That night, her phone exploded with calls and frantic messages. "Ryan, where are you? Answer me. I need to explain." I ignored them all. Silence was sharper than anger. I imagined her pacing, panicking, realizing she no longer held the power. The apartment she expected to return to was no longer mine to share. The tension was intoxicating. When she returned 2 days later and opened the door, her face froze. The apartment was half empty. My things were gone, the locks were changed, and a single note sat on the counter. "You'd be bored here anyway." She staggered back as confusion turned into panic, finally understanding I had vanished, leaving her alone with her lies and rising dread. Her phone kept buzzing with unanswered messages. Weeks later, I learned she had been fired. Anonymous reports had pushed HR to act on her unprofessional behavior during the so-called conference. I didn't interfere. I didn't need to. Karma had been precise. She lost her credibility, her reputation, and the man who had trusted her completely. I, meanwhile, was building a new life far away, free from the suffocating lies and constant anxiety that had followed her for months. As time passed, she reached out again, first in anger, then in desperation. "You disappeared. Why won't you answer?" she wrote. I read every message and allowed myself a small, quiet smile. I replied with one line, repeating her own dismissive words back to her. "You'd be bored here anyway." That final message carried the weight of months of betrayal and careful planning. The silence that followed was sweeter than any argument could have been. She lost control, her lies exposed, her manipulation undone. I thrived in my new life, calm and steady, having reclaimed my power. Every morning in my new apartment, I remembered that simple text and realized that patience, observation, and timing had been my ultimate revenge. In the end, the lesson was clear. Sometimes the best response to betrayal isn't anger or shouting. It's calm. It's intention. It's letting someone who underestimated you walk straight into the consequences of their choices while you walk away into a life they'll never share. That night, that message, and that silent exit proved it perfectly.